Hi guys, it's Nicole and I've got a single page layout today. I am currently enrolled in a sketches class over at SCT Magazine. This is taught by Allison Davis from Scrapbook Generation. I am caught up and current on the class, so this is the August sketch that I'm working with. If you are part of the class and have like the class contents and stuff, I picked option one as far as like my background, and then I kind of changed up my photos a little bit, but I really liked how the paper elements were sort of pushed to the side but also extended from top to bottom, so that was the one that I picked. My photos are from a yearly tradition, the first day of school with my kids. They get like my sad attempt at pancake art, where they get like their initial and the number for the year of the grade that they're going into. And I was digging through my stash and I found this Saturday afternoon collection from October afternoon. This is very, very old. By the time I found out about October afternoon, they were already sort of out of business. So a lot of my stuff is from warehouse boxes or de-stashes and stuff like that. Now, I did read the instructions on the sketch because at first I was like, I don't want to try to wing these like wonky stripes. So I did read the instructions on the sketch, and she kind of gave information as far as making a template. I actually made it incorrectly the first time because the main sketch, this like wonky paper area, is a different dimension than the option that I picked. So I had to go back and kind of redo that. This always seems like such a simple thing, and then it turns out to not be, if that makes sense. This layout took me way longer than it had any right to do. I struggled trying to pick papers. The night that I was actually kind of pulling product and getting stuff ready, I was video chatting with Lisa Brooks over at Life and Layouts, and she can attest to just my indecisiveness. And I even told her this is why I don't scrapbook at night, because I feel like during the day, my brain is just more willing to make decisions and like those decisions. Whereas at night, I just hate everything for some reason. So typically at night is if I'm going to work on stuff, I'll do things like die cutting, I'll make dickers, I'll stitch, like things that don't require me to make a decision, or it's like following through on decisions that I've already made, if that makes sense. So I went back and forth. Once I sort of removed that wood grain as one of the stripes and decided to use it for the background, everything sort of clicked, and I was able to kind of go through and pick, I think I picked like 6 patterns, and I chose a couple to repeat so that like overall I liked the colors. And then for the template, I found it, I don't want to say easy, I mean it's time consuming, but I just kind of traced it onto the back of my paper, and then I used a combination of a straight edge and an X-Acto knife and my trimmer to cut these out. Even with that, not everything lined up great. Like I should know going into that. It's fine. I think if I was to do this again, I would probably design it in like Silhouette software, and it's tedious to sit there and change the paper on your mat, but everything would be cut perfect. I wouldn't have to focus on like the pattern. So like there's a couple patterns, the yellow plaid, this pancake icon, the notebook paper, and I think the one with all the pluses on it. Like your instinct is to butt the paper up and conserve as much paper as possible, you know, put the straight edge to the straight edge of your paper and trace it. But then when you go to put it on your layout, the pattern is actually not straight. So I wasted a little bit of paper just making sure that, like, I think the clouds was the other one. I wanted everything to be straight. One of them was not the straightest, but it's fine. We're gonna go with it. I got, I think, 8 of the 9 strips down, and my second yellow plaid no matter what I did, it was not lining up. So I left it in the video, even though I'm a little bit out of frame. Basically, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it's piece number 8, which is going to go under that red, like squiggly one. I went ahead and attached the 9th one. So I've got that gap. To me, you can see the wood grain right there. To me, it was easier to come in with my plaid paper because I need it to be straight. I don't want my plaids to be wonky. It was easier for me to come in and basically just lay the paper where the pattern was level and mark the edges on the left and mark the edges on the right, and then just kind of play a game of connect the dots. So essentially I'm like recreating a puzzle piece that needed to go in there because for whatever reason my template piece, it wasn't fitting, and then I absolutely was not enjoying like constantly cutting like little slivers off. So like I said, I think if I ever do like this again, or even like a sunburst, I think I'm going to let software and technology kind of do the work for me. So I spent a couple days dragging this around my house and stitching on it. I printed my photos out multiple times. You can see them on the layout. There's some different sizes over on the right. There wasn't like a specific sample of photos in the class content that I felt like worked. And I think there's always this kind of roadblock when you're mixing horizontal and vertical photos together. So I kind of gave myself a bunch of options. At this point, I was really thinking that I would keep them together like this and kind of have it basically, in a sense, take up the space of a 4x6 and keep it together. And I'm going to go through the process of, matting it on some cardstock and kind of making a little collage here. I even pulled out these like layering tools. I always tell myself that this is probably easier. I don't know why I struggle with them so much, but I do. And I keep pulling them out and I keep trying. Some days I like it, some days I don't. Some days I'm just like, the paper trimmer is fine. If it's crooked, it's crooked. It's all kind of based on my mood. It was kind of after I got it on here and I started like dry fitting everything to my layout that I wasn't liking it as like a whole big photo like that. So I peeled everything off, decided to mat everything separate, and instead of having it act as like one photo, one 4x6, I'm going to actually split them up, and I'm going to do the horizontal below my title and my 2 portraits above my title. Now, I left this clip in real time, so hopefully you guys can get a better look at this. A friend of mine was asking about this. When I match up my journaling, this is what I do when it's on like a pre-printed die cut like that, is I type up my journaling. Once I've gotten it to where it's going to match up spacing wise, I print it out, I draw lines in between the lines of text, and then I do a left margin and a right margin. And basically this is so that once I cover it up, I still know where the outside edges are, and then I can line up each line of text. And this one in particular, it did take me, I would say I probably printed my journaling 4 or 5 times. I just kind of rotate the scrap piece of paper that I'm printing it on. And this one in particular, it was just fiddling with the line spacing. And a lot of times you just go in and do a custom line spacing and you just kind of start guessing the numbers. Like I think 1 is the smallest default. I think 0.76 was kind of a sweet spot for this. It wasn't perfect, but it was close enough that it wasn't going to hit any of the printed lines, and close enough is good enough for me. So I did put my journaling kind of in the same area that was depicted on the sketch, and then everything else from that point, it kind of goes back to my photo choices. I just kind of go with what I think looks good. Overall, when you're looking at the sketch, you've got your photos and your title and embellishments and stuff all kind of taking place where your background and these strips of paper meet. So I just found designs or placements of things and what I liked. I'm going to go a little bit backwards when it comes to these letters because I actually needed to make a second word. So for these, this is a die set from My Favorite Things. Every time I check, it's been out of stock. If it comes back in stock, I'll probably do like an announcement in my Facebook group for those that have been waiting for it. I used it on the donut layout as well. I'll link it up here in the top. I really wanted to use, like, I have these Bella Boulevard brown alphabet letters, like stickers, because I kind of wanted to use up some stickers. Like, I'm using Old October Afternoon. It just felt right. I didn't have any of the right letters, so I wasn't really sure what to do. And then I was like, you know what, let's just kind of lean into this theme of pancakes, and I'll do some like really theme heavy dickers. So I also couldn't find brown paper that I liked. I'm telling you, the decision making on this thing was just a mess. So I took that third layer of the white cardstock and colored it with Copic markers, and I'm going to apologize if you guys just heard one of my kids turn the shower on. I'm so sorry. I don't think they realize that I'm in here recording, and I'm not about to fault somebody for showering. So if you can hear that, I'm so sorry. But the donut layout that I used these on worked because it kind of looked like drippy frosting. In this instance, you can kind of read like butter or syrup kind of going on with these. When I use this die set, I do 3 layers for the full letter, and then I just do 2 layers for this little like drippy layer. And I am going to come back in with my Copic marker, and I'm just going to kind of put some dots and like speckle detail. To me, this just kind of made them look a little bit more like a pancake, whether they're like little bubbles or speckles or what. To me, this just worked. The small yellow stickers are also October Afternoon. Those I just put my favorite foam adhesive strips behind them, and I have found my favorite pair of tweezers, so let's all welcome her back in my life. Even though now I own 4 pairs, these ones are like, they're the best pair ever. Like, I love them. They're my best friend. So I'm glad that it's back. With these ones, I do try to make sure I've got a good amount of liquid glue behind them. Just the back of these ones aren't always flat. And then anytime I'm adhering things on top of stitched background elements, I'll always kind of put everything down with ATG, but sometimes I cut it out, or once I'm done filming my layout before I go to take the photos, I go back in with my liquid glue and really make sure that my photos are glued down. So like the photo of both my kids right there, there's 3 or 4 lines of stitching going on behind there. So I just kind of carefully peel up the photo, and I make sure that I've got liquid glue between the back of the photo and the pattern paper, and then I also put some on the thread. Like, I don't go super crazy. I don't want it to bleed through and make like my photo get wet spots or like that wavy texture you can sometimes get with glue. I keep it thin, like you would normally glue something on there. I just want to make sure that stuff's not going to pop off, and no matter what I do, ATG will not stick on top of anything that's been stitched. So I don't mind it so much when it bumps around while I'm putting everything down. Like I said, I just make sure that when I'm done, I go through and really secure anything that feels like loose. This is the point where I really just kind of kept going back to the sticker sheets. I think I had some die cut packs. Just kind of looked through everything and was looking more for pancake related yellow and some of that like pinkish red. I didn't want to bring in any of the blue. There was some stickers and some different like phrases that would have worked well, but it would have brought in another color, and I really just didn't want to try to balance that out and bring in another one. I was really liking just the yellow, red, and browns together. And I just sort of start fiddling and trying different things. If it doesn't work, I put it back. I did remember to go ahead and date this one. This little date tab didn't have enough room for me to put the year, and I kind of didn't want the year. So what I ended up doing was on the back of the layout, I just took a pencil and I wrote what year it is so that when I go to put it away, at least I know that it's in the right year. Once the layout lives in my album and it's in the correct year, like I know it's, I think this is, oh no, second grade, 2020. This would have been 2020. I'm pretty sure this is part of my dark side assignment. So if it's in the correct year, I know for sure that that's the year. It's fine. Like half the time I put the year on my date stamp just because it's going to be a while before I put it in a layout. But because I'm living in my 2020 album, I know it's going to go in pretty quickly. So here's my finished layout. As always, I appreciate you guys following along, watching, commenting, that kind of thing. Links below. Go ahead and follow me over on Instagram if you haven't. I share different stuff over there, like behind the scenes stuff. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys here and I'll catch you later.